Hello, everyone. We've got a super special guest today with us. We've got Shelby Hintze. She's a producer at KSL. She's the producer of the Browser and the Sunday edition on KSL TV here. It's the NBC affiliate. She's, really one of the power players in local media. And we wanted to have her on today to talk about some important issues. So stick around. You don't want to miss this episode.
Welcome to the Your Mark on the World show with your champion of social good, Devin D. Thorpe.
This episode is made possible via the support of our sponsors, including Johnson & Johnson's Caring Crowd. Shelby, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Well, thank you. You recently were kind enough to invite me on to the Browser, and we talked about some nonprofit issues, and you wanted me to talk about something that I really didn't do a good job of addressing, and I felt guilty about that.
Well, it's hard when I only give you 3 minutes to talk about a lot of things. So
Yeah,
I understand.
that's right. But you had suggested I talk about this idea that we ask the people we're serving or hoping to serve in leadership, to be part of the solution, to be active participants. And I didn't do justice to that at all. And so I wanted to have you on the show so we could talk about that issue. Because I think it's such an important issue, and you have a unique and special voice there. I mean, you really are one of the power elite in local media, deciding what gets to go on television and how it's done. And so your position of influence is important. I wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about this issue. But why do you think it's so important that we give people that voice?
Awesome, thanks. So just a little bit about me as well for your viewers. I use a wheelchair. I have a disease called spinal muscular atrophy, and I'm really trying to navigate this world of, I have one foot in a very privileged, grew up middle class, white, good family who was very supportive. So I have one foot in this very privileged world, and I have another foot in a very marginalized world. So how can I use those to benefit not only myself, how can I use that privilege and that understanding of marginalized communities to benefit myself and to also benefit others, and to help kind of make the world better for everyone. I think the most important thing is that we are listening to people that are actually going through what we say we want to be supporting. So kind of to give a little understanding of kind of the disability community. And I think that this really focuses a lot on the disability community, but a lot of these concepts can be applied to other organizations and communities that people want to try to serve as well. So when you look at the disability community, you kind of have two different ways of looking at disability. You have and neither one are necessarily right or wrong, but they're both important. And we often only focus on one. So you have, excuse me, I got a cold. First of all, you have the medical model of disability, which is saying that a body is broken and needs to be fixed. And then you have the social model, which says society is broken and needs to be fixed. And so when you look at disability and illnesses and things like that, using both of those frames of reference, it helps you to better understand what you can be doing to really help people. There's a lot of push to just heal people instead of helping them navigate the world that they're in right now. And while medical advances and technology and all that is so incredibly important, helping people to understand how to navigate the world that they're in right now is really what's going to benefit people the most. And the people that know the best how to navigate the world they're in are the people that are currently living in it.
I think that's a super powerful observation, and it applies to so many situations. But I wonder if, I think it's easy for most of us to think about the broken body paradigm that you talked about. And most of us stop there.
Right.
I wonder if you would give us an example or two of this other paradigm of seeing society as broken and needing to be adapted to optimize the experience for other people. Help us see that
Yeah.
paradigm.
So I mean, just for me, like going to the grocery store, you know, I usually go with someone to help me like get stuff off the shelves, and I understand that that's like that's going to be something that's hard to fix. But when I get to the cash register, if the cash register, the card reader was 2 inches lower, I could totally do it myself. But the fact that it's just just a little bit higher makes it impossible for me to do it. You know, simple little things like that most people don't even think about. And that can just be changes in an environment. You know, no one's ever put out by putting a ramp in a building. You don't ever exclude a group of people if you add a ramp.
Yeah.
Or if you have a sign language interpreter, you're never excluding another group of people. You're only opening it up to more people. So if we think about it that way, not so much, I mean, obviously there are things within like the medical model that say, you know, if we improve things, life will get better. Chronic pain, you know, illnesses that are more terminal, things like that. But in the day-to-day life for a lot of disabled people, it's just if this environment was a little bit more accessible, life would be a lot easier.
It's interesting. You know, my wife struggles with stairs, as a lot of people do.
Right.
My heavens, the proportion of Americans that struggle with stairs is probably 20, 30%. But it's amazing how adapted some places are and others are not, right? You notice it immediately when you start coming across steps and stairs everywhere. And I always find it amazing that more people aren't building to that specification. But there's so many other examples, I imagine, too, and not just with disability. You think about low-income communities, and we hold a meeting where you have to drive a car and pay for parking. And suddenly we're excluding the very people we are hoping to help, and we're excluding their voice, right?
And I think, there's a lot of, when you don't include the people that you're trying to help, and it's human nature. I mean, I do it, everybody does it because you are focused on, you know, your life and what you need to do and all those kinds of things. And it's impossible for us to completely understand everybody's individual situation. And so we have to be open and willing to listen to people and actually truly listen to them, not just say, oh, that's nice, I'm sorry, that must be really hard for you. And then, you know, still hold your meeting where you have to drive across town and pay for parking.
Right.
And, you know, we really need to be willing to have creative solutions to issues. I think technology is one of the most amazing things for that. It allows people so many more. I mean, right now we're not even in the same building, and we're having this conversation. And it would have been hard for me to get to wherever you needed to be. Right. But we're still having this conversation, and there's no issue with this. It's not any different than if we were sitting in the same room.
It's exactly right.
And so I think, another example that I had with, there's the Muscular Dystrophy Association. It's kind of the blanket charity for me, for my disease. Mm-hmm. And they do a lot of really great work. So this is not a bash on them by any means. But when I was, I'm from Seattle, and I moved to to Provo, Utah, to go to BYU. And when I was moving out here, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I've never had to figure out how to pay for personal care assistance and all of these other things. So I went to the MDA and I said, what do I do? You know, what resources do I have? And they didn't have anything for me. And that was something in that moment that I really needed. And that was what, I didn't need a summer camp in that moment. Summer camp was great. But what more and more people my age were starting to need was, how do I transition from living at home to living independently? And they've started working on adding those kinds of things, but because there wasn't enough of a voice of people that were really transitioning and living in that life on the boards that were making decisions, and that was a really big blind spot that they had at that moment.
That's a powerful example of how an organization can fail to meet needs simply by not having the perspective of the people they're trying to serve.
And having a broad perspective of the people you're trying to serve. MDA does a really good job of having kids on their, as their national spokespeople because they're cute. But then those kids grow up and they need especially as technology advances and people are able to live longer and do more, they needed those other different voices other than just, the cute kids, which are important, and other than just parents as well. We often also focus on parents of people with disabilities in those kind of organizations, and they bring a valuable experience, and that's very important, but it doesn't trump the experience of someone who's actually living it.
Yeah. One of the concerns I think an organization might have is a concern about putting more burden and responsibility on someone that they're already trying to serve. Right. In terms of, putting someone on a board or a committee. How do you think about that?
So I think there's a couple different ways to handle that. First of all, hire people that have, whatever are part of whatever group you're trying to serve. Employment is a huge issue. So if you are employing them, maybe it's somebody that they don't have as much experience as somebody who's coming from another board or something like that, but trust that, my 26 years of lived experience is just as valuable as somebody's 10 years of experience on the board at some, there's a lot of skills you can learn and a lot of skills you can't learn. And so by hiring them, you're helping and bring their voice into your organization and giving them a job. That's a huge issue that a lot of people have. So I think that's the first thing. Using those people in your paid positions. And then also, with technology, like we spoke about before, it's making things a lot easier. So using Skype interviews, FaceTime interviews, allowing people to teleconference in to meetings. I know people generally, want to help, and people want to do have these opportunities to help people and help people like them, but just using technology and really working with people to figure out what's going to work best for them as well.
That's a powerful observation. Shelby, I wonder if I could just get a couple of personal insights from you. I try to ask all my guests a few insights. People on my show are like you, generally speaking. They are powerful people of influence and accomplishment. And Shelby, I want to know what you're most proud of having accomplished.
That's a good question. I think for me, at this point, I'm proud of what I'm doing as a job, and that I've been able to get to work at KSL, and it's an amazing opportunity for me. And it's hard sometimes because I think, I just got really lucky. But, I try to remember that, no, I did do this, and I am proud of my accomplishments and the hard work that I've done to get to where I am. I've had a lot of luck, and I've had a lot of privilege that has allowed me to get to where I am. And I don't want to discredit that at all. I will not say that I got here solely pulling myself up by my bootstraps. But I do think there's a lot, it would have been easy just to give up and to move back home and just to live a simple, easy life. And it's not what I'm doing.
No, it's an inspiring point, Shelby. We all need to remember that. We're all to some extent in that same boat.
Right.
Resting on our privilege and challenging ourselves to do more.
Yeah, we like to tell people that we like to think that, it's all meritocracy based, and it's really, really not. So
yeah,
that's an important thing to remember. And I don't think it should make you feel bad about what you've accomplished as well. But just remembering that is really important.
What is the most important lesson you've learned in your life?
I think right now for me, it's listening to other people is just kind of in this context of what we're talking about as well. You're never going to be able to learn everything and never really truly understand everything. But you have to, and also just assume that everybody is doing the best they can. Life is a lot easier for you if you just assume that everybody is doing the best they can. That's a hard thing to remember, and I'm definitely not the best at it. But if you can go about life thinking that, you're going to be a lot less stressed and a lot less angry. And I'm definitely still working on that one. But I think that's the most important thing right now is everybody is doing the best they can.
Yeah. What attracted you to media? Certainly you are bright and talented, could have done so many different things. What attracted you to that?
I love being able to have a basic understanding of a lot of things. When I was trying to decide what I wanted to do for school, I just didn't want to be tied down to one specific thing for the rest of my life. I was interested in so many different things, and I have so many different passions and things I want to learn about and understand and people I want to meet. So the thought of, doing one specific thing for the rest of my life was not appealing at all. So I actually graduated with a degree in public relations because I thought that would be a fun way to just kind of get to do a little bit of everything. And then my senior year of college, I decided I wanted to be a producer. I didn't even really realize that was a thing. And then I was in New York and I saw the producers at the Today Show. And they were like walking around like telling everybody what to do. And I was like, that's what I want to do. So I was so fortunate to be able to do an internship here at KSL. And then I got hired on out of that. But I love just being able to learn a little bit about everything. My like the browser that I do every day has a little bit of politics. It has a little bit of business, technology. We'll do whatever the funny viral video is of the day, and it's really encompassing of my personality. I like to have fun, and I like to also dive deep into political issues and things like that. So it's a fun way to just get a little bit of everything.
Oh, that's great. Well, Shelby, what is your superpower?
Oh, geez. I would hope that my superpower would be making people feel comfortable and willing to open up and I try really hard to be vulnerable with people as well, so that they feel that they can be that way with me, and creating kind of it's a silly word, but a safe space for them, and just helping people feel comfortable and have a little fun and maybe forget about troubles that they're having or a place that they can come talk about those as well. So I hope that's what it is. Well, I don't know if it is, but that's the goal at least.
That sounds like a good one. It sounds like a powerful superpower. Well, Shelby, thanks so much for taking the time to be on the show today. I know you're super busy. My heavens, producing 2 shows at KSL. But before you go, I wonder if you tell people how they can connect with you personally and learn more about you.
Yeah. So probably the best way is Twitter. I'm on Twitter way too much. My Twitter handle is Shelbs Devin25. And you can find me there. I post a lot of, you'll see I have a lot of interests, and they span the Twitterverse. So it's a good time. So yeah, definitely give me a follow there.
Fantastic. Well, again, Shelby, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today, and we wish you every success in your great career.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
All righty, let's do some good.
At Caring Crowd, we believe everyone has the power to make a difference. Through our crowdfunding platform for community health, we empower passionate people to drive real change. Whether you work for a nonprofit organization, volunteer, or want to get involved for the first time, you can post a campaign on Caring Crowd. Join us, because caring is where change begins.
Thank you for listening. Devin Thorpe's mission is to end extreme poverty, improve global health, and mitigate climate change before 2045 by finding and sharing the stories of those who are doing the most good. You can join with other listeners to accelerate Devin's mission by visiting helpdevin.org right now.